माधवा कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Sodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Tira Manachari Yamuna Tira Manachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jai Prabhupada Jai Gaura Pramanande Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksuranmalitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Supadantikam Vande Am Shri Gurun Shri Yuta Pada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sangrajatam Savan Raghunathanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitam Shta He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpade Gopisa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrisabhano Sude Devi Pranamame Haripriye Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyayevecha Padidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today, the very wonderful, auspicious occasion. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has kindly descended in this material world only for the purpose to elevate our consciousness and to take us back home to our own origin, which is his own kingdom. Ajo pisan abhyatma utanam isvaro pisan prakritim swam adhisthaya sambhavami atmamayaya. In the chapter 4, text 6 of the Gita, the Lord himself explains that he has no birth in this material world. And his body does not destroy like ours. Yet the Lord descended in the material world, millennium after millennium, only for the purpose to reclaim the conditioned soul to back home, back to Godhead, somewhere or other, due to the misuse of our minute independence being given to us. To be separately looking for some pleasure away from the Lord has brought us to this material atmosphere. And finally, by understanding that there is not going to be any satisfaction and pleasure in the material world, by the mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, we have got this great opportunity that we can revive our Krishna consciousness, lead a very happy and peaceful life in the material world by the mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga, and back home, back to God. It is not possible for us to understand the appearance of the Lord. It is not possible for us to witness the beautiful form of the Lord. But yet the devotees are taking pleasure in trying to understand, trying to participate in the beautiful, wonderful Leela the Lord has done in the material world. Name vido suragane prabhavam na mahatsaya aham adiri devanam mahatsinam cha sarvasa. In the chapter 10, text 2, the Lord explains that neither the host of the demigods or the great sages would understand his appearance in this world, because in all respect, the Lord himself is the origin of the demigods and the sages in this world. So however different way we try to understand the Lord, it's not possible for us to understand the infinite. Is unlimited and we are very limited in this world. Somewhere or other is only possible by the mercy of the Vaishnavas. That is why Prabhupada has created the beautiful atmosphere where we can come together and we can rekindle the devotions within our heart. Somewhere or other, by the mercy of the Sri Guru and Gauranga, we get the opportunity in a day that we can meet Lord Krishna and go back to him. Even Lord Brahma have declared about his position. After the Lord killing of Agasura, the younger brother of Putana in Bakasura, the Lord said with all the coward boys and the calves, the Lord said with the coward boys and the calf to take his lunch. And Lord Brahma wants to test the power of Lord Krishna. He stole the boys and the calf away from him and kept them for 1 year. But then after that, he came to see what's happening here with Krishna without these calf and boys. But then the Lord had expanded Chatur Bhujam Sankuchakra Ghadam Rajiva Phanaya Kiritinam Kundalinam. Again, the Lord has expanded the similar age and form of the boys and the calf. And Lord Brahma was bewildered to see that whatever he has taken away from the Lord is existing, it is there. And at that moment, Lord Brahma declared, Jananti va janantu kim bahukya bahu prabhu manaso mapaso vacho vaibhavam tavam gocharam. Lord Brahma told the Lord, he said, there are many people claim that they know about you. I know about Krishna. I know about Krishna. And he says that I don't want to talk about that subject matter. But here today, I want to declare, my dear Lord, Manaso Vapuvacho, through my mind, through my speech, or through my action, I do not know about you totally. Even Lord Brahma, the first living entity of the world, who has been empowered by the Lord himself, he declared that he doesn't know Krishna. Whether through his action, through his mind, through his speech. So in this way, it's not possible for a conditioned soul in this world to understand Krishna unless they have developed some sort of faith. Asra dhadana purusa dharmasya parantapa aprapyamam nivartante mrittu samsara varitmane. The chapter 9.3, the Lord says that if one even he has come to him in devotional service, but Astradhana, if he hasn't got a faith in him, if he hasn't got a faith in Krishna, even he said that Mrityu Samsara, that person has to come back again to this material world. So coming to the temple is one thing. Imbibing the knowledge is another thing. But executing the knowledge we have learned from the Vaishnavas are very important thing in our life. According to Shastra, 8 kinds of people will not be able to understand the mysterious pastime of Lord Krishna in this world. A person who hasn't got faith in the Shastra, he will not understand about Krishna's pastime. A person who do not have faith in the Guru, he also cannot understand. A person who do not have faith in Krishna, he also cannot understand about Krishna. A person who is not able to control his senses, he won't be able to understand Krishna. A person who have got no purity in their heart, they won't be able to understand Krishna. A person who is not communion, they are not conscious of Krishna all the time, they won't be able to understand Krishna. And a person who have no desire for hearing and chanting of the holy name of the Lord, they will not have a darshan of Krishna. And a person who is not eager for the darshan, he is not eager to see Krishna. And he also cannot understand the mysterious pastime of Lord Krishna happened some times ago. So in this way, that it is very difficult for a conditioned soul to understand the beautiful appearance of the Lord unless they have got the blessing of the Vaishnavas. The only our message to the living conditioned soul is that somewhere or other they must be connected into the parampara, into the Vaishnavas Sangha. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was talking with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, they talked about 64 angas of bhakti, and finally they have concluded there is only two things, the main important things. Samsara sarpadriste mochithanam kalau yuge ausadhim bhagavan nama tasmat vaishnava sevanam. Even though there are 64 angas has been given, out of that 5 becomes very important. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya declared that out of that 5, 2 becomes the most important for a conditional soul to revive Krishna consciousness. There is one is to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Another thing, one is that always stay in the association of the devotees. If 2 things we can do very nicely, always we are in the association of devotees of the Lord and always chanting the name of the Lord. And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said that will deliver the living entity from the cycle of repeated birth and death. So we are trying here today to understand the very reason why the Lord has appeared in the world. And we are trying to digest all his lila, all his activities. And it is not very easy unless our heart is very pure. Otherwise, we get different kinds of contamination, even in the understanding of the appearance of Lord Krishna. When Lord Krishna was invited to Mathura by Kamsa to participate in the wrestling match with Sanura and Mustaka, and the Lord went to Mathura, and on the way, different people saw Krishna in a different way. Mallanam asanir nirnim naramara Srina Murtiman Gopadan Swajanam Supitro Sisu Mrityur Bojapadir Virat Avidusam Tatram Param Yoginam Vrishninam Paradevateti. When Krishna was from Vrindavan, he was heading to Mathura. Different people saw Krishna, but they did not saw Krishna in a similar manner. When the Chanura and Mustika, they saw Krishna, they saw that powerful wrestler is coming towards us. And the surrendered people of the Mathura, when they saw Krishna, they saw a nice gentleman is coming. And the ladies from Mathura, when they saw Krishna, they saw a great attractive personality is coming. And the Gopas, the coward boys, they saw that our coward friends coming. And the impious king, when they saw Krishna coming, they saw the punishment is coming. And the elders of Mathura, when they saw, they felt their own children are coming. And when the Kamsa, he saw Krishna, he saw that the death personified. And the Jnanis, when they saw Krishna, they saw that, Virat Purusa, the universal form is coming. When the yogi, they saw Krishna, they saw that, the absolute truth, the super soul is coming. The Vrishnis, the devotees of the Lord, when they saw Krishna, they saw that the worshipable deity of us are coming. So in this way, different people, according to their faith in Krishna, they saw Krishna in a different way. In the 17th chapter, text 1 onward, Arjuna is asking Krishna, Esasra vidibhustesha vartate danvita tesam nistam tukam krishnam sattvam aho rajastama. My dear Lord, what is the position of people who are influenced by the difference of modes of nature, whether sattvagun or rajo or tamagun, and they do not follow the injunction of the shastras? What is their position? Trivida bhavati sradha dehinam sasubhavajam sadvika rajasi chaiva tamasite chitam srino. The Lord says, being conditioned in this world, people are influenced by the different kinds of faith. There are people in the faith of more of goodness, there are people in the faith of more of passionate or ignorant. Then Krishna explains, Yajante Satvika Devan, Yaksha Raksha Rajasi, Pretan Bhutan Ganam Channe, Yajante Tamasam Jana. Those who are in the mode of goodness, they worship the demigod. Those who are mode of passionate, they worship the demons. And those who are in the mode of ignorant, they worship ghosts and spirits. Asasra vihitam gora tapyante tapodhana dambhankara samite kamaraga balandita kasayantam sariram sam bhutagramam acheta samam chaivata sariram sam. Again, the Lord explains that there are people, asasra, they do not follow the injunction of the sastra. Out of pride, out of attachment on lust and greed in this world, they follow certain part of religion, but everything back again into their selfish interest and nothing else. And in that process of trying to understand the Lord, they torture their own material body through austerities or by other means. And Krishna said they are known to be asura, they are known to be devotees. So in this way, that people at the present moment, the world, there are many religions and organizations are there, but all are minus of bhakti, devotion unto the Lord. Somewhere or other, whatever pleases them, whatever end of the day can give them some material, fulfill their material interest, people don't mind to follow without the injunction of the shastras, without the assistance of the bona fide spiritual master. There was a man in India, he built a samadhi and then he was doing puja. So a lot of people, passing by, somebody bowed down and somebody sat there, and slowly the numbers increased. And nobody questioned him, whose samadhi is this? Normally when we go parikram, normally we also bow down, somebody bowing down, we don't know what is happening in that place. So then, then in this way the number increased and then people started to throw donation and he was making a lot of money through this samadhi. And he had only one son and then the son was, a bit notorious. All the time he was, asking money from his father. And the father been giving him lots of money, but the son is always begging him, give me more, give me more. The father thought, it's not possible for him to do this thing all the time. So he thought, let me one shot, give him some amount of money and send him away to go and make more money for yourself. Then he gave him the money and then he gave, and with that money he also gave him one baby donkey. They can go. So he went away with the money and the baby donkey. And on the way, the baby donkey died. And he do not know what to do now. The donkey, baby died. So he had some money somewhere or other. He used that money to make a samadhi for that baby donkey. And he was doing puja. Then somewhere or other he became more famous than his father. He was making lots of money and then father came to know that his son is quite successful, making more money on the other side. Then one day the son came to meet him, the father. Then the father said, "How you are able to make more money than me?" He says, "Father, do you remember you gave me that money? Then you gave me the baby donkey. You know what happened? The baby died. I buried, and then with your money I made a samadhi. In this way, lots of people came and sat, and they found very peace and happiness, in that atmosphere. And people started to give donations, so I made more money." Then the son says, "But father, but only my distress, my unhappiness is that I do not know what happened to the mother of this baby donkey." The father says, "You're a fool, the samadhi which I'm doing puja is the mother." So in a way that somewhere or other in the material world, people do not have a proper understanding and idea about religion. Somewhere or other they are carried away by the material interest. They are not able to understand any of these things. By the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have got this great opportunity to come and participate in this organization in Krishna consciousness. If we can read Prabhupada books, with great faith, surely we will be able to have some sort of understanding about Krishna consciousness. Surely. It is only by the mercy of the Vaishnavas we are able to do these things. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu met Prakasananda Saraswati, so Prakasananda Saraswati was not appreciating Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. He somewhere or other found Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, sentiment. And he told Mahaprabhu, "Murka sannyasi nija dharma nahi jane bahuka aye pere bahuke rasane." He says the murka means you're fool. He says you're foolish sannyasi. Somewhere or other you do not understand the real dharma, the real principle of dharma. You are endued to your own sentiment, you are singing and dancing and rolling in this crowd. And that is not the job of a sannyasi. But Mahaprabhu was very humble. Humility is the way for us to understand Krishna, for us to have the blessing of the elders. With that kind of blessing from the elders, we are able to understand somewhere a little bit of Krishna consciousness. Even in the Mahabharata Yuddham, in war, before the war starts, Yudhishthira got down from his chariot. He went and touched the feet of Bhismadev. When Yudhishthira was going to the other side, everybody were very, bewildered on this side. So they found, maybe they felt, maybe Yudhishthira wants to raise the white flag, he don't want to fight, surrender. And Krishna said, don't worry. Yudhishthira knows what he's doing. And Yudhishthira went and touched the feet of Bhisma. Bhisma says that, you'll become the victorious in this battle. Bhisma told him that if you have not come to touch my feet, take my blessing, I would have cursed you that, you'll be defeated in the battle. And he went to Dronacharya, he got the blessing of all the elders. And Krishna says, if anybody wants to advance in their life, materially or spiritually, anybody, they must have the blessing of the elders. And what to talk about Sri Guru and Gauranga. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu been told by Prakasananda Saraswati that you do not know what is the real religion is all about, you are out of sentiment, singing and dancing. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not argue with them. He don't, fight with, Prakasananda Saraswati. He raised both his hands. He said, Amiha ina sampradaya tumi tomara yoyayate naisam. No, Visaya. He says that I'm coming from very low sampradaya. I'm not qualified to sit, among all your disciples or yourself. Prabhu kahe tumi tomara jagat guru pujatam. And he says that, you are the Jagat Guru, you are the Guru for the whole universe. I'm not even, qualified to be the disciple of your disciple. Then Prakasananda Saraswati able to see that this is a great personality. Even though talking bad about him, but still is very humble. He's not fighting back, arguing back on anything. Then Prakasana Saraswati asked Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vedanta Padava Dhyanam Sanyasere Dharma. He said the real Vedanta, teaching of Vedanta, the real Dharma of a sannyasi to read the Vedas. But you are not doing that. You are out of, sentiment, you are singing and dancing and rolling on the floor. Prabhu kame tumi dekhiya sakshat narayana. And I also can see that, you are not looking different from Narayana. I say, but why you are means why you are doing low class activities? And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Prabhu kaye suna sripade karna guru more murka deki karila sasa. He says, my Guru Maharaj told me the same thing that, I'm murka, I'm a fool. I won't be able to understand this Vedanta. Simply chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. So in this way, Krishna consciousness, Krishna only can be understood through our own humility, through by the mercy of Vaishnavas, nothing else. We may try so many different ways. Even Yudhishthira Maharaj in the Mahabharata, he told, he said, Dargo pratistam sutaya vinitam natasya yasyam matam na bhinam dharmasya tattvam nihitam enam mahajano yena kata sapanta. That the Krishna consciousness cannot be understood through argument. Ergo means argument. It only can be understood through the mercy of the Mahajan. Great personality like Srila Prabhupada, the Vaishnava Acharya, the Parampara. Only through this thing we be able to understand. Even at Krishna's time, there was a Brahmana, Mayavadi Brahmana, he came to see Krishna. But then Mother Yasoda was carrying Krishna. And then, the moment, he was coming, the Mayavadi Brahmana coming, and Krishna pushed his head, at the backward. You don't want to see him. And the Brahmana Mayavadi goes at the back to see Krishna, and then he turned the face on this side. When he comes to that side, he turned on the other side. He doesn't want to see even the Mayavadi Brahmana. And when he was 12 days old, Lord Shiva came to see him also. And Lord Shiva came, all over his body, there are ashes, there are skull around his neck, and there's a snake on his head. He came to knock the door of Yasoda. He wants to see Lord Krishna, baby Krishna. He was only 12 days old. And when Yasoda Mai came and opened the door, she saw that Lord Shiva is there. But she felt like, somebody disguising like Lord Shiva here. And then she saw that, all over the body, ashes, the skull around the neck, and then, there is a snake on his head, And Lord Shiva told, I want to see your son Krishna. He said, I'm not going to, bring my son to you. You got a snake on your head. What happened if the snake bite my son? I'm not going to do that, And Lord Shiva backed and backed, So that says, I'm not going to bring, it's very dangerous for my son. Whether you are real Lord Shiva, you are disguising, the secondary subject matter. Very important. Primary is my son. I only got one son. And crying, Lord Shiva said, I'm going to know Yamuna river. And you will surely will come and look for me. And Lord Shiva went there, and then he sat, and then he began his bhajan. Govinda Jayo Jayo, Gopal Jaya Jayo. Govinda Jayo Jayo, Gopala Jayo Jayo. Beautifully. Ah, Krishna Dwarka Vasiya, Vasiya Tamanandana, E Achyuta Kesava, Madhava Govinda, E Giridhari. He says, my dear Lord, you are Giridhari, you are uplifting the Govardhan hill, and I'm your devotee, I've come to see you. Why you are not giving me the mercy to see you? And he was crying and crying, is what Uddhava said in the 10th canto you read. Asam aho charanareno jusam radesham vrindavanam kimapi gulma latao denam yadustayajam maya bhajam vajanam aryapat. Beautifully, Uddhava says that, he says that, my dear Lord Krishna, I wish that next life I will be born in Vrindavan, either as a bush or creeper or whatever herbs, because by trembling of the lotus feet of the gopis in Vrindavan, somewhere or other, I may able to get their mercy. So now Lord Shiva was crying and crying and crying. And when Krishna see that his devotees crying on the side, and Krishna began to cry in the house. And Mother Yasoda picks up baby Krishna, but he's still crying. And then the gopis, they also came to pacify Krishna, but Krishna was keep crying and crying and crying. And one of the gopi have asked, Mother Yasoda, did you offended any Vaishnava today? She said, I don't remember I've seen any Vaishnava today, but there was one guy came, with a snake and skull and ashes all over his body. And he wants to carry my Krishna. I said, no way. So he told me that, you'll come and look for me. And the gopi said, who has come? Vaishnavanam Yada Sambhu, the great devotee of the Lord, Vaishnava, great Vaishnava has come, and you have offended him. Better go. So all of them ran to Yamuna, and there Shiva. Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal, Jai Govinda, Jai Gopal. He knows how to attract Krishna. Then they took him to Lord Krishna. The moment Lord Krishna, baby Krishna, saw Lord Shiva, he stopped crying. So in a way, we have to understand there are two principles in Vaishnava. Two principles to be followed by Vaishnavas. They've been said in the Padma Purana. Smartavyam satatam Vishnum vismartavyam najatu ched sarve vedi nisedashor itayor eva kinkara. There's only two things that devotee should do. One is to always remember Krishna. And another one is that never forget Krishna. Whatever other rules and regulations we've established here, if that rules and regulation is not, giving you an opportunity to remember Krishna, you don't worry about that rules and regulation. Everything else is only a secondary subject matter in our life. The primary subject matter is that always think of Krishna. Never forget him. Only Krishna can be understood through self-realization, nothing else. As long as we are on the conditional life in the material world, we won't be able to understand Krishna. Only unless we have come to self-realization. And the self-realization only comes when we practice the two principles in our life. One is to always remember Krishna. And another one is that never forget Krishna at any time. The only principle. And the symptom of self-realized person has been mentioned in the 18th chapter, text 51 onward. Buddhaya Visudaya Yukta Disayatmanam Niyam Yacha Sabdadin Visayan Tyaktva Raga Dvesa Vyudasya Cham Vivikase Vilagvase Yatava Kayam Manasa Dhyana Yogam Paro Nityam. Beautifully, Krishna explained in that verses. There are 18 qualities Krishna mentioned. For those people who have come to the platform, the level of self-realized. And he mentioned number one is that the intelligence should be purified. We should not become disappointed to on Krishna because we are not able to see him or understand him. We may have some difficulties on the journey of Krishna consciousness. But then you have to understand, according to our level of surrender, Krishna is reciprocating with us. So Krishna says that, the two principles are remembering him all the time and never forget him. And that will transform the elements in our body. Number one is that our intelligence becomes purified. Number two, the mind becomes controlled. And number three, we'll be able to give up the object of the sense gratification. Number four, there won't be any kinds of attachment and attachedness in the material world. Number five, we will be isolating, we'll be finding a secluded place where we can practice our bhakti. And number six, we are able to control the way we eat our prasadam, not overloading. And number six is that the body, the senses are able to control. And number seven is that, our speech, also will be able to control. And number eight, we are in conscious of Krishna all the time, trance of Krishna all the time. And number 10, automatically that will be a great detachment in the material world. And number 11 will become free from false ego. Number 12 will become free from false strength. And number 13 will become free from false pride. And number 14 will become free from lusty desires. Number 15 will become free from greed and anger. And number 16 will be able to be free from the material acceptance of this material world. And number 17 is that we are able to become free from false proprietorship, no more claiming what is not belongs to us. And number 18 is that we'll be always very peaceful. When you're very peaceful and you are able to focus into the mission of your life. In this way, Krishna gives, Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma na sochati na kansati sama sarve mad bhaktim labate param. When we come to this transcendental position, then we have no anchoring and lamentation. The material world, those anchoring and lamentation transform into spirituality, that you are always anchoring for Krishna. And then you are lamenting that you are not able to Krishna in your journey of Krishna consciousness. In this way, bhakti becomes very important part of our life. As I mentioned before, only through bhakti, devotion, undivided devotion unto the Lord, we will be able to have the glimpse of Krishna consciousness. Only all these things happen by the mercy of Sri Guru and Gauranga. Take shelter of Vaishnavas. We always go to the Vaishnavas, always chant the holy name of the Lord. Samsara sarpadiste murchitanam kalau yuge ausadim Bhagavan Nama. Asmat Vaishnava Seven. Two great principles so said by Sarma Bhumacharya. There is one is always to chant the holy name of the Lord and always keep your association with the Vaishnava. That will transform our consciousness into Krishna consciousness. I would like to take leave and thank you so much for kindly giving me this opportunity to say a few things about Krishna. I'm not that qualified. I'm also searching for Krishna. I'm trying to see Krishna. Somewhere at my shortcomings, my conditional life is not allowing me to face to meet Krishna. But I've got a great faith in Prabhupada movement. Surely, if not now, at the time of death, I'll meet Krishna. And we are very grateful to Krishna. I had few accidents, in my journey, in my car and everywhere. But all the accidents, even flying, there was, very bad condition weather. Everybody was screaming, but I was chanting Hare Krishna. So like that, the Prabhupada must have got this great opportunity, be happy and be peaceful and, carry on your work and see what you can contribute for Prabhupada movement. Be grateful for what we have got it from our spiritual masters. Surely our life will be blessed. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. And my humble dandavad to His Holiness Devamrita Swami.
As we have said, that we are very fortunate to have the Janmashtami Maharaj. Now we'll be hearing from the Janmashtami Maharaj. know that both Maharajas have traveled almost 2 days just to be over here with us, to celebrate Janmashtami with us, and give the association. So please grab the nectar as much as possible. Thank you. Let's welcome the children from everyone.
Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janabar Lava Girirvanadhari Gopi Janabar Girirvanadhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Kira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Gopi Janaballabha Girirvanadhari Yasodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Go Premanandi, Sri Krishna Janmashtami Ki. Om Agana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshun Militangena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vaswadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hey Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It is a contradiction, Sri Krishna Janmashtami, because you're celebrating the birth of someone who has no birth. As you may know, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tattata. If you can understand the transcendental mystery about his appearance in this world, his birth, and his activities, his janma, his karma, then upon giving up the present body, you don't take another material body. So how can you understand in truth about Krishna's birth, his janma, when he has no birth? And how can you understand the truth about his karma, his activities, when materially he is inactive? So let us discuss, especially, we can begin with Queen Kunti Devi in the first canto. She points out that, number one, there is bewilderment about Krishna. The way he does or he doesn't do, the way he's born but he's not born. And number two, she points out that there are various reasons given for Krishna's appearance. So let's begin with number one. She talks about how it seems Krishna is partial in that he favors some, especially his dear devotees, and he doesn't favor others, especially the asuras, the demons. So Kunti Devi points out that such vision of partiality that we affix upon Krishna is simply due to our material conditioning. The example given by Srila Prabhupada is the sun. The sun is always shining, in case you haven't noticed. There may be clouds in the sky. There may be fog. There may be nighttime, but the sun is always shining. So your consciousness of the sun depends on your own receptivity, your own self-positioning. The sun could be shining broad daylight, but you're covered up with wearing protective clothes and wearing sunglasses. That's, of course, that's necessary often for your health. But the point is, in this example, the sun is shining, but by our voluntary choice, we're shielding ourselves from the sun. Similarly, those who commit crimes, especially like nighttime. Owls, those birds like nighttime. So they don't like the sun. So you could say that those who are totally averse to the sunshine, they're like those who are averse to Krishna, to serving Krishna. And then there are those who like cloudy skies, a little bit of sunlight, a little bit of cloud, a little bit of fog. They're the mixed devotees who have some piety. Yes, let us do some seva, let us do some puja, but they have aspirations to enjoy the temporary material world. And then there are those who just love to be in the full sunshine 24/7. They are like the pure devotees who 24/7 simply think how to serve Krishna better. So Kunti Devi is pointing this out. People think you're partial, but actually that is not the case. And then she presents that, how is it? Because it's bewildering. How is it that the unborn takes birth? And how is it that one who doesn't act performs activities? She said, this is bewildering. How is it that Krishna is described as inactive? Those descriptions of Krishna are meant to tell us that he has no material activities. He's not forced to act by the pressure of material nature. And this is a very important point for us to understand. What is the difference between our activities in conditioned life and Krishna's activities, which are eternally liberated? That people lack scientific understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the greatest loss. So Kunti Devi points out that, yes, you are unborn, yet you take birth. You're inactive, yet you perform activities. What else do you do that's bewildering? You appear in so many different forms, even like boars and fish. This is bewildering, my Lord. Even when you appear looking like a human being, like Krishna and Balaram, that's also bewildering because people think, yes, human being, human being. So Queen Kunti Devi, in about 6 verses, presents so much potential bewilderment about Krishna, and we can see that going on even today. She points out the Damodar Leela, which you'll be celebrating in a month or so. How is it that when fear itself is afraid of Krishna, Krishna is afraid of Mother Yashoda's stick? What is going on here? Fear personified is afraid of Krishna, yet Krishna is demonstrating in Damodar Leela his fear of Mother Yashoda. Now, the Acharyas point out a very interesting point about this item that Kunti Devi raises about Damodar Leela. Krishna is actually fearful. He's not acting, because if he was just acting to be afraid of Mother Yashoda, Queen Kunti wouldn't have said, this is bewildering. But she's bewildered because he's doing the real thing. His body is shaking, his pearl necklaces are shaking, he's sobbing, he's crying. He's really into it. This is spontaneous love of Krishna. So she says, I'm bewildered. He's actually afraid of his mother. And then she points out the various reasons given for Krishna's appearance. Some say this, some say that. Some say that you appeared simply to glorify the Yadu dynasty, especially to glorify Yudhishthira Maharaj. She says, Punya Shloka, that's actually referring to Yudhishthira Maharaj, one who is glorified by pious verses of praise. Some say you appear to add prestige to the Yadu dynasty. Others say it was because Vasudeva and Devaki in their previous lifetime as Krishna and Sutapa, they prayed to have you as your son. Therefore, in their present appearance as Devaki and Vasudeva, you've agreed to come as their son. Of course, Vasudeva and Devaki have that eternal capacity, but they have expansions. That's an advanced point for older devotees in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Those of you who have sufficiently read Srila Prabhupada's books can relish Brihad Bhagavatamrita. And there it's explained that just as Krishna can expand himself, devotees can also expand themselves. So while remaining in the spiritual world, devotees can have expansions of expansions that are in the material world. In Los Angeles, where I just came from, we were in the section of Bhagavatam about Jai and Vijay being cursed by the four Kumars. And it's an advanced point, and we don't want to get caught into details, but Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes that actually Jai and Vijay stayed in the spiritual world in Vaikuntha, and expansions of them went to the material world. So my point is that just as Krishna can expand himself, similarly, his eternal associates in the spiritual world can expand themselves. So Sutapa and Krishna, they're expansions of Vasudeva and Devaki, the original Vasudeva and Devaki. So Kunti Devi is pointing out, some say that this is the reason, to honor the request of Vasudeva and Devaki. Others say it's because of Lord Brahma. You know how the devatas, the demigods, overburdened by so many improper activities on earth, approached Lord Brahma. Usually Lord Brahma has a solution. But in this case, the burden, the pressure on the earth due to demonic activities was so great that Lord Brahma himself didn't have the solution. So in times like that, Lord Brahma goes to the Shirodaka, the ocean of milk. He goes to the shore and calls out praise to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shirodakashai Vishnu, because Shirodakashai Vishnu is the conduit through which most of the time incarnations appear, through Shirodakashai Vishnu. And so Lord Brahma hears a message transmitted in his heart from Shirodakashai Vishnu that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Purna Bhagavan, not an incarnation, not an expansion, but the original personality of Godhead himself will come. So Lord Brahma relays that message to the devatas. You can consider the condition of the earth planet right now. It is certainly overburdened. And you may wonder, where is Krishna? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, you'll find the verse, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. In the age of Kali, Krishna appears as Nama Rupa. He appears as his name. So you're wondering, where is Krishna? People are so bewildered today, economically, politically. If you look at the course of humanity and how it has resulted in the situation today, I've been explaining at universities in the USA. The situation today is not called a crisis, it's called the polycrisis, because many crises are all intersecting at once, simultaneously. So in the past of human history, human activities were the major player on the stage, and nature was a backdrop. So when you study the history of the world, you study about human beings having wars, having revolutions, that was center stage. As I said, nature was the backdrop. Now it is the reverse. Nature has seized the spotlight and shoved human political and economic affairs into the background. Nature has seized the spotlight in terms of inflicting upon us so many natural disturbances. You may have noticed that, at least I notice in traveling the world, the media has stopped using the words to refer to wild weather as unprecedented or once in a lifetime flood or once in every 100 years. They've just stopped it because even in the paradise of Hawaii, and that was that Maui, in case, how many of you have been to Hawaii? Anyone? Maui is the most paradisical island. Who would have ever thought? On the most paradisical island and on the most paradisical shore of the most paradisical island, wiped out completely. So certainly the earth is feeling overburdened and is retaliating against human beings who live on this planet without understanding their purpose on this planet. So you cannot expect nature to cooperate. So Kunti Devi is pointing out another reason for Krishna's appearance. Lord Brahma, he requested. He couldn't solve the situation. And then she says, others say that you want to rejuvenate the process of hearing and chanting about Krishna. Bhavesmin Krishyamananam avijja kama karmadhi. The conditioned souls are struggling for happiness. They're working hard for distorted, minuscule, tiny happiness. And Krishna feels compassion. How does Krishna's compassion manifest amidst all the unnecessary suffering and hard labor of humanity? He manifests compassion by reviving the processes of hearing and chanting about him. So Srila Prabhupada points out in the purport, this actually is the real reason why Krishna appears. The other reasons are all supplementary. The world is overburdened. Brahma makes a request. Krishna and Sutapa, now as Vasudeva and Devaki, wanted Krishna as their son. All these other reasons, glorifying the Yadu dynasty. But the actual main reason is Krishna is creating content for you to meditate upon. Those of you who are in the IT world, you've heard the expression, content is king. Well, there, in Krishna Lila, that's the most appropriate statement. Krishna is creating content for you to have your mind captured. He's Manohar. He takes away your mind by his attractive pastimes. So that's the real reason for Krishna's appearance. He wants to revive hearing and chanting about him. And we can see that a revival is always necessary in our hearing and chanting. So many of you, as you go about your family affairs, as you go about your business, occupation affairs, you know that it can wear you down. That's the effect of time. Time corrodes. Things run downward. And so therefore, there's a constant effort for rejuvenation, reinvigorating that's necessary in our individual spiritual life. So a day like Janmashtami is good for you to make some greater resolve. Okay, I got a little wayward, I got slack in my hearing and chanting, I'm kind of losing sight of what is the ultimate goal of life. Now on Sri Krishna Janmashtami, let me take a stand that I will reinvigorate my spiritual life. And how do you do that? By reinvigorating your focus on chanting Hare Krishna, hearing about Krishna, reading about Krishna. And that way, you can truly celebrate Janmashtami. Rather than just, Janmashtami is the day for those who believe in Krishna. Even though we don't do what Krishna says, we believe it. No, if you want the real Janmashtami, you want to assimilate deeply in the core of the heart. Why is Krishna coming? He's coming to show you his pastimes, not simply pastimes of maintaining the universe, not simply pastimes of killing the demons, but he's going to show you his loving pastimes, in which he can become dominated by your love. He can become subordinate to your love. That's the real purpose of Krishna's coming. Our problem is avidya kama karma bhi. Queen Kunti Devi very succinctly points out the process of material entanglement. It begins with avidya, nescience, ignorance. And from that comes kama, material desire. Sometimes devotees argue, how is it that the spirit soul first became entangled in material existence? Beginning is avidya, nescience. Why the nescience? We become covered by nescience, and you can't find out the time because this is beyond time and beyond space. But the nescience covering is upon us because we want to imitate Krishna. Now you might say, why could we ever want to imitate Krishna? That's because we have independence, although so tiny. We're part of Krishna. Krishna is a supreme independent. So we as Krishna's parts have a tiny bit of independence. And that means to use properly or to misuse. Those of you who are parents, you know that you may try so hard to mold your children in a certain way, but there's a point in life when they want to fly their own kite. They have that little bit of independence. Similarly, the spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna, the Supreme Soul, has the ability to choose Krishna or not. Otherwise, where's the independence? But we struggle so hard with this point. How could I, if I was situated properly with Krishna, how could I have mistakenly chosen to come to the material world? You have the independence, just like your children will show you their independence. And then you have to just accept that. So Queen Kunti Devi is pointing out, briefly, but very succinctly, avidya, kama, karma bhi. First, there's the nescience potency that overwhelms the tiny jivatma, the tiny spirit soul. And then you think, I am this body, I belong to the material world. And once the nescience potency, the avidya potency of the Lord covers you over, because you have to be covered in order to forget Krishna, in order to not serve Krishna directly, you have to be covered over. Something has to interfere with your normal perception, your normal way of acting, functioning. So then from avidya comes kama, material desire. I will compete with Krishna's happiness. And from kama comes karma, material activities. So this is a very encapsulated description given by Kunti Devi. But she says, here you find the real reason for Krishna's appearance. He comes to revive the whole process of hearing and chanting, to point out to conditioned souls, this is where it's at. Look at the content I'm creating. So then, when you get to the end of the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 24, the prelude to the 10th canto, the prelude to the smiling face of Krishna, there you get some premonitions, some advanced notifications of what's coming ahead. There it is explained by Shukadev Goswami that yes, Krishna appears for the sake of his associates who come with him when he appears. There are 14 manus in every day of Brahma. Every day of Brahma, his total day and night, his total 24 hours is 8,640,000,000 years. Cut that in half, you have a day of Brahma. Every day of Brahma, there are 14 manus. Right now, in this present day of Brahma, we're in the reign of the 7th manu out of 14. So Krishna notices that the time for cosmic maintenance is there. That's the work of Vishnu. It's not the work of Krishna directly. He has an expansion of an expansion of an expansion that takes care of maintaining cosmic affairs. Krishna is simply all play and no maintenance, no work. That's why Krishna carries a flute, to show you he never works for his pleasure. And what about us? Even if we're self-employed or we have a huge inheritance, we still have to struggle in this world. How to invest our money, how to safeguard our money, how to protect our property. This is all work. But Krishna simply flute playing on the bank of the Yamuna River during the day and confidentially at night. So those associates who appear with Krishna in his entourage, they get to experience with Krishna such loving exchanges that are not even found in Vaikuntha. He has devotees relating to him as mother, as father, like Vasudeva Devaki, more intimately Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj. He has devotees relating to him as friends, as lovers. He especially wants to show this. Why? Because he knows we are attached to our attempts at loving affairs in the material world. Imperfect existence means trying to relish the rasas of the spiritual world, trying to do that on the material platform, in the material world. How to have our own conjugal affairs, madhurya. How to have our own parental affairs, vatsalya. How to have our own friends, sakya. And how to have servants, dasya. These relationships originally are there in the spiritual world with Krishna 100% as the center. But in the imperfect material existence, we push Krishna out of the center and say, now I've got my romantic affairs. I've got my family affairs. I've got my friends. I've got my servant. So Krishna wants to show you that you cannot compete with him. That's his mercy. Sometimes you ask, where is Krishna's mercy? Janmashtami is celebrating Krishna's mercy. He's showing you that he is Rasika Shekhar. He's the ocean of all relishable relationships. And he's Parama Karuna. He's extremely merciful because he's inviting you. Come dance with me. Come play with me. Come nurture me as my parent. He's inviting you. Of course, you can't take the position of Krishna's mother, his father. Those are eternally, the position's filled eternally. But you can aspire for the same flavor of those relationships. When you read Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, especially the first chapters of Adi Lila. How many of you have a full set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita in your home? Raise your hand. Oh, not bad. Maybe half of you. That is the postgraduate study. Bhagavatam is the graduate study for Bhagavad Gita. How many of you have full sets of Bhagavatams in your home? Raise your hand. Better. Bhagavatam introduces you to all the depth understanding, the in-depth understanding of Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, you are introduced to Krishna, but Krishna doesn't talk about himself so much. Yes, he shows the universal form, but that's not really where Krishna's at all. So in Bhagavad Gita, you are introduced to Krishna as a person, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He exists. And then Srimad Bhagavatam, in depth, discusses Krishna, introduces you to Krishna in depth, takes all the themes of Bhagavad Gita and expands upon them. Now, what does Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita do? In Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, you get most confidential knowledge of Radha Tattva. Bhagavatam very confidentially and very briefly presents Srimati Radharani. But in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, you get the full Radha Tattva, the science of Srimati Radharani in her relationship with Krishna. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is revealing Krishna's thinking. Now you might say, how can someone know Krishna's thinking? Isn't Krishna inconceivable? But part of Krishna's being inconceivable is that he can inconceivably reveal his thoughts to someone. You cannot say no. It's like, who can stop you from revealing yourself to someone? That's up to you and your independence. Similarly, Krishna, because he's unlimited, he has unlimited capacity to reveal himself even to the limited. But the system doesn't work the other way. The limited cannot approach the unlimited and expect to understand the unlimited because we're too tiny, we're too limited, and Krishna's unlimited. He's Ananta. But coming from the other way, it works. Coming from the other way, the unlimited has unlimited capacities and can make himself known even to the limited. And that is what happens on Sri Krishna Janmashtami. Krishna comes to display his Braja Leela. That's where he's really at. Not so much maintaining and killing demons, maintaining the universe and killing demons. That's done by Vishnu. When Krishna appears, all the Vishnus, all the avatars appear within him because Krishna is Purna Bhagavan. He's the full and complete personality of Godhead. So as you know, in Krishna Leela, when demons are killed, that's Vishnu within Krishna. Krishna simply enjoys dancing, playing with his friends. So on this day of Sri Krishna Janmashtami, we can be grateful to Krishna. Thank you for displaying your Braja Leela to attract our mind to the most intimate love of Krishna. Of course, first we have to qualify ourselves by going through the therapeutic stage of bhakti, which will lead us to the relishing stage of bhakti. Shri Krishna Janmashtami ki. You're going to blow the conch? No, I can go on. What's the schedule? Okay, a little bit more. So we talked about the end of the 9th canto. How Shukadeva Goswami gives you a premonition, advance notice of what's coming in the 10th canto. He describes how Krishna benefits those who are with his entourage, those with him, how they get the favor of being able to sport with Krishna, love with Krishna, be parentally taken care of, parentally taking care of Krishna as their child. All this is going on. But what's more, Krishna is looking ahead into the future, Shukadeva Goswami says. Krishna is seeing that the age of Kali is coming. Because Krishna appears when? He appears at the end of Dwapara Yuga, right before Kali Yuga begins. So Krishna is looking ahead and thinking, I'm going to benefit not only those in my entourage, but I'm going to benefit those unfortunate people who take birth in Kali Yuga. I'm going to act in such a way that they'll have every opportunity to think of me, even within Kali Yuga, the dense darkness of Kali Yuga. Shukadeva Goswami is looking ahead, and in that last chapter of the 9th canto, Shukadeva is saying, I see what's going to happen. People will be so oppressed by false leaders. They won't be able to see what is the ultimate goal of life. They don't understand they're being devoured by their leaders. I see all that coming. But Krishna has acted in such a way that by focusing on his activities, anyone can cross over the entire ocean of material existence just by understanding Krishna in truth, how he seems to take birth, how he seems to perform activities like an ordinary human being. If you can understand that transcendental mystery, then just as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, you don't take birth again in the material world. Of course, for us to get to that point that we have no more material aspirations takes some progress to make in bhakti. Gradually, we become more attracted to Krishna. Gradually, our original attraction for Krishna becomes revived. And that means simultaneously our attraction for the material world and the material body starts to diminish. All that can be accomplished just by hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna. So Shukadeva Goswami is pointing out two things. The Lord appears to benefit his entourage. He's bringing his own bhaktas with him, his own devotees in all the rasas. He's bringing them with him. And he's also coming to benefit us right now in the age of Kali. He's going to give you content that's so fascinating that if you would take the time to focus on Krishna's activities, gradually your material existence, your grip on material existence will slacken. So this is the real reason for Krishna's descent. Yes, yada hi dharmasya. Whenever and wherever there's a decline in dharma, Krishna comes. Yes, paritranaya sadhunam vanashaya chaduskatam, in order to annihilate the miscreants and deliver the devotees. But how does Krishna deliver the devotees? Actually, if we are real devotees, which we aspire to be, we're already delivered. A real devotee means someone who values devotional service as their life and soul. So what does Krishna have for you? If you aspire to be a real devotee, He's got his name, form, qualities, activities, all for you. That is his mercy as Parama Karuna. And because he's Rasika Shekhar, he's the expert relisher of all loving flavors. All those flavors are contained within him because he's all that. He's Purna Bhagavan, full Bhagavan. He can do all this for his entourage when he appears and for us now in the age of Kali. Sri Krishna Janmashtami ki. Hare